This is the first video in a new series on how to harmonize a melody, or in other words, how to choose which chords to use. We're going to start real basic with diatonic, major triads, and root position. Diatonic just means all the chords are coming from the same key. And triad means 3-note chords, so no 7th chords yet. Root position means that the root of the chord will be in the bass. So if it's a C major chord, C will be in the bass. If it's an A minor chord, A will be in the bass, and so on. For our example melody, let's use Musical Hall from Pokemon Black and White. We'll start with only major triads as a first step to keep things simple. In a major key, there are 3 major triads, 1, 4, and 5. In the key of F, those are F, B flat, and C. To start, we're only going to use a chord if the melody note is already in that chord. For example, if the melody note is A, our only choice will be F major, because the note A is an F major triad, but not in B flat or C. But sometimes a note can be in more than one chord, giving us a choice. So sticking with the key of F, the pitch F is the root of the F major triad, and also the 5th of the B flat triad. So either of those will work. However, the pitch G is only a chord tone of the C major triad, so that's our only available choice. We can go through all 7 notes of the F major scale and figure out which major triads they can be matched with. F can be F major or B flat major, G can be C major, A is F major, B flat is B flat major, C is in F major or C major, D is B flat major, and E is C major. You can see that it's only the F and C pitches that have more than one option. The other 5 notes only have one choice. So let's take that information and see how we can apply it to that Pokemon theme. Again, to keep things simple, for now we'll use about 1 chord per bar, sometimes 1 chord per 2 bars. Remember, I said that in the key of F major, the pitches C and F have more than one option, so we'll have to make a choice. Before we tackle those choices, let's harmonize the pitches that only have 1 chord option. This A can only have F major. This D can only be B flat major. Notice that not only does this E need a C major, but the figure outlines a 3rd from E to G. Outlining a 3rd like that implies that both pitches should be chord tones. Fortunately, the E and G both get harmonized with C major. This B flat gets the B flat chord, the G gets C major, this D gets a B flat chord again, and notice that it carries into the next bar. Since B flat is our only major triad that works, we're gonna have to keep that chord. And the final G gets a C major chord, also for 2 bars. Notice how we went from 1 chord per bar to 1 chord per 2 bars at the end here, which is actually a nice way to slow down the pacing of chords and build some anticipation for the ending. There will be some awkward gaps for those chords we didn't choose yet, but still, let's listen to what we have so far before we talk about how to make those choices. Like I said, a little awkward with the gaps, but at least we can tell those chords that we chose so far seem to work pretty well. Now we have to deal with those notes that have options. In this melody, there's this overlying rhythm of a strong measure and weak measure. Strong bop bop, weak bop bop, strong bop bop, weak bop bop. Every 2 bars, the first bar is strong and the second is weak. So look at this F in bar 4. We have the choice of either F major or B flat major to harmonize that F. But we already have B flat in the next bar, and it's a strong beat. As a general rule of thumb, not always, going from a chord on a weak beat to the same chord on a strong beat is kind of an unsatisfying move. We're expecting measure 5 to have a strong accent, but if we keep the chord the same, we end up a bit disappointed. It's not a huge deal, but it's worth considering. Let's compare using the B flat with using the F. For the example's sake, I'll just use F major on the first 3 bars. To my ear, going from the B flat to the B flat is fine, but going from the F to the B flat is better. It gives more emphasis to the strong downbeat at measure 5, makes the pitch D feel like more of a lift. So I'm going with the F chord. Now let's back up a bar to that C in measure 3. Our choices are C major and F major. The problem I have with the C major is that we have C to F in the melody, and then we have C to F in the bass line. It doesn't matter if you've studied counterpoint, using the same pitch in the melody and bass in both chords like this is pretty lifeless and just not very satisfying. If we were using inversions, we could solve this pretty easily, but we're not getting to that until a future video in this series. For right now, we have to make the best of root position. So for that reason, I'm gonna go with F. Even though we end up with the same chord in both bars 3 and 4, I think it works a lot better than the parallel octaves if we use the C. So let's back up once again to bar 2. Here, the strongest note of the measure is F, which means we can use either F major or B flat major. Because we already have F major all over the rest of this phrase, I'm gonna go with the B flat to give us some variety and movement. Jumping ahead to bars 7 and 8, we have the pitch C. That can be either F major or C major. But remember what I said about carrying the same chord over from a weak beat to a strong beat. Using the C immediately after this existing C feels pretty weak. So I'll go with the F in bar 7. Now we have another choice. We could keep the F chord in bar 8 or move to the C. Because in the first phrase, I set up a pattern of chords on 1 bar, 2 bars, I'm gonna repeat that pattern and keep the F in both 7 and 8. Now taking a look at bars 11 and 12, we can see an opportunity for the same 1, 1, 2 pattern because both the C and F work with the F major chord. So that's our basic version done. Let's take a listen. Leave a comment if you want me to continue with this series and let me know what you struggle with when picking chords. The version we heard here would definitely not be my final harmonization if this was a real piece I was working on. But as I said, we have to start somewhere, and we will get progressively more complex and interesting one step at a time. Even if you only know the real basics of music theory, you can still express a wide range of emotions and characters with just 2 chords. That's exactly what I explained how to do in this video here. So make sure you watch that one next. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.